Well, he's not very popular with a minority of the public. A majority of the public thinks it was a stupid idea to leave the European Union. That was true probably before we left, but it's certainly absolutely and totally true now.
Oh, yeah.
But you're not allowed to say that because, Bodge got Brexit done.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Even though he didn't. But they just keep saying it over and over again, as though saying it, repeating it until they're blue in the face would actually make it true.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Thanks a lot, Philip. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, it's Back to the Future. Back to 1974, 5, something like that. It's going to be exactly like that, but with better hair, better clothes, and worse music.
Rock and roll!
That is true. This anonymous text says, Kings of Leon's debut album was amazing. Funny. David in Canterbury says, I mean, you're referring to them as being equivalent to anything great that happened in the 1970s. You must be joking. No wonder that you remained anonymous. You should be ashamed of yourself. David in Canterbury says, Nick, would you mind repeating that £1 trillion energy company profits time analogy that you mentioned last night? It was so mind-blowing, I think you should put it on the side of a really big bus.
Yowza.
Yes, okay then. But I'll have to do it off the top of my head. You know, when people talk about millions and billions and trillions, it's almost like a philosophical concept. It's very, very difficult to understand really how much we are talking about. And the energy companies have made $52 trillion over the last 50 years. Trillion. Now, you think, that sounds quite a lot. They've made £2.3 billion in pure profit after all of their expenses, all of their tax. It's essentially free money. 2.3 billion, not million, billion pounds pure profit every single day over the last 50 years. And the moment somebody suggests that they might suffer a windfall tax, oh my God, you could hear the whining through concrete. And the Lizbot said that last night, didn't she? Oh no, well, we can't. I disagree with the concept of a windfall tax, she said, because it would restrict their incentive to invest. Oh, please. No, it won't. Of course it won't. They made all that money. They're making so much money that what the manager of BP actually referred to his company as a cash machine. And what are they doing with it? Are they investing? No, they're just spreading it around their shareholders. And stop right there if you're going to the phone to tell me that pensioners are shareholders. No, they're not. Pension funds hold almost no shares. I think it's like 4%, something like that, of all shares are owned by pension funds. It's not pension funds. It's the world's super rich that own that stuff. So what we've got here is a transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich, again. And what we're about to get is the government laying on a little bit of money, not much, but giving people a little bit of money, like 400 quid, I think it is, isn't it? Which is, of course, not helping you out. It's helping out the energy companies because they're giving you that £400 so that you can pay your bill to the energy company. So what's happening there is they're taking your tax money and giving it to the energy giants. That's what that 400 quid is. He's not being generous to you, he's being generous to them. God, the stuff that goes on. It's amazing. It really is absolutely astonishing. And so the million, billion, trillion thing is, and I'll have to do it off the top of my head, I'll do it in seconds. I mean, you can do it if you stack fivers on top of each other, how far you get. But seconds, a million seconds is about 12 days. A billion seconds is 36 years. I'll just let that sink in. And a trillion seconds is 36,000 years. That's the level of what we're talking about here. And they made $52 trillion over the last 50 years and are whining their faces off at the prospect of getting taxed. We subsidise them. They put those rigs in the North Sea, and once all that hot, delicious oil has finished squirting up, we pay them to clean it up. Talk about mugs. It's amazing what we put up with. It really is. And you almost feel that, you know what, that it's not working anymore. The usual tricks that they come out with, like the Lisbot said, we can't enact a windfall tax because that would restrict their incentive to invest. The only thing that's going to restrict their incentive to invest is if they don't think they're going to make any money out of it. Taxing them now isn't going to affect their plans for the future because their plans are already set in concrete. They don't plan from day to day. They plan decade to decade. They know what they're going to do in 5 years' time. So it won't make any difference at all to enact a windfall tax now. It's, of course, a complete coincidence that Liz Truss used to work for one of the oil giants. I'm sure that has absolutely nothing to do with her attitude to a windfall tax on said companies. And so like arguments like that, they used to work. We can't tax the big companies because they are wealth creators. Or we can't tax the big companies because that's socialism. And before, people would nod their head, oh yeah, that's quite right. No, you're quite right, Ms. Truss. That is socialism, and we don't want that round here. Same thing with the unions. Oh, well, they're all Marxists and they're militants and enemies of the people and on and on and on. And that message would get underscored by the right-wing press, and they just hammer that home. And they put a picture of like somebody like Mick Lynch with devil's horns on the front cover, and that all used to work really well. But I'm not sure it works anymore. I think people are thinking, hey, you know what? No. We're not going to get fooled again. Enough already. It's like Bodger's Act doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Wait.
Apart from the people who have joined a cult. It worked for a while, but then people started pulling away from it a bit, almost as though the stench from the regime got so strong they didn't want to be associated with it anymore. Even his own MPs actually, eventually, finally, some of them made the right decision and dissociated themselves from the indefensible bodge. So I think there's, unless it's just like a passing fad or I'm hallucinating, but I think a change is in the air. I don't think those old tricks that they play are working anymore. And they're still playing them in the newspaper. They're still like, the militant Mick Lynch and all of that. And it looks like something from the past. It looks like you're reading a newspaper from the 1970s. Because the reaction to those stories is, you know what? No, we agree with Mick Lynch. I mean, you must have noticed that people are quite enamoured of Mick Lynch because he seems to be a person that knows what he's talking about and he answers questions and he is committed to what he's doing. And the people think, well, actually, yeah. Why should we think that train drivers shouldn't get twice as much as nurses because they aren't twice as valuable? Rather, you should think of it as nurses should get as much as train drivers, not train drivers get less.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
I am not one of your fans!
Paul texts, we should scrap prepaid politicians. I agree. We should put them on a meter. I am stunned. Rishi Sunak. See, I thought he was the sensible one. Rishi Sunak seeks to revive faltering number 10 bid by attacking woke nonsense.
Fabulous.
You have got to be kidding me. Talk about desperate. Fishy Sunak will seek to revive his flagging bid for the premiership by wading into a series of so-called culture war issues, vowing to stop, quotes, left-wing agitators from bulldozing British values. Oh, you sad, sad man. That is really, really pathetic. That's all you've got? You tried to be sensible and tell people the truth, and that didn't work? Because your immediate audience seems to have joined a cult?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And now you think, oh, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Oh, my God. With Liz Truss the firm favourite ahead of a critical few days in the leadership contest and ballot papers set to be received by Conservative members from Monday, Sunak will give a speech attacking, quotes, woke nonsense. Oh, Struth. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
You've got to be kidding me. I also thought that Tom Tugendhat was the sensible one as well, and now he's said that Liz Truss is the woman for him. The only one who can unite the party. It's the only one that abides by conservative principles. What, tax cuts for the rich, you mean? Conservative principles. I mean, this is ridiculous. Why don't they just have a clown off? See who can make people laugh from a circus. It's just amazing, isn't it? Woke nonsense. That is what they will. And this is what I was talking about before the news. All that stuff used to work. In fact, it has worked up until relatively recently. But I think a lot of people are thinking, hey, you know what? There's just so much else that's more important. Are you really going to fight the next election on unisex toilets? You are kidding. On statues? Nadine Dorris just made a Cecil Rhodes statue. Not even a statue. It's like a plaque, grade 2 listed. You know, just in case anybody should think about taking something offensive down. Woke nonsense. You are playing to the bores who prop up the bar at the golf club, and there's not enough of them to put you in power again. And once you're out there, once you've gone down that road, it's going to be very hard to work your way back. I mean, best of luck in saying, oh, you know what, I was kidding, just kidding. Stop running away, anybody that's under the age of 60. I'm your friend. It's just, I mean, just when you think that they have reached absolute bottom, they find another level. And where's Boris Johnson, by the way? He is not performing as promised. I mean, what about the Consumer Rights Act? Can we replace him with one of those robot vacuum cleaners and keep the difference? I mean, did anybody keep the packaging that he came in? I mean, if the tags are still on him and he's in reusable condition, we could get a refund. Mind you, they won't give us our money back if he's stained, so we're stuffed. Ain't that right, Bodge? Apparently he's been organising a party, which seems to be his thing. I mean, it's the only thing he seems to be able to do successfully, apart from persuade a surprisingly large number of the perpetually deluded to follow him like he's some sort of messiah. I mean, you could hear them harumphing away during that debate, sorely missing the dear leader because the gruesome twosome that they are left with are D-U-L-L. Boring! But they want the funny guy off the telly back. And they're frantically finding some way of blaming someone. Anyone else for all the things that his imperial bodgeness did to precipitate his own downfall. You know, it's Fish's fault. Or it's the mainstream media what done it. Or it's Ramona's for not believing in Brexit enough. Or it's Jeremy bloomin' Corbyn. No! Anyone but the man himself. They treat him like a child. You know, all that, oh, leave him alone. He's doing his best. Rubbish. Like he's a 5-year-old who's been tasked with making a full English breakfast and the beans are on the floor and the eggs are in the teapot and the bacon's in the dog. He's not a child. That's just his act. That whole Just William untucked messed hair. Who, me? And they've elevated him to messiah status. It's like a third of the country's joined a cult. And it's not like as though they missed the results, the successes, the plan, the progress, because there hasn't been any. Even now, they just trot out the same two things over and over. Well, he got Brexit done. No, he didn't. It's still not done and never will be, which almost seems like it's the plan to constantly have the evil EU to blame for every cack-handed thing that they do. And, of course, the vaccine rollout, which was successful because it was the only thing about this catastrophic handling of the pandemic that actually worked, because he and his minions got out of the way and let the actual experts take over, instead of trying to figure out how to monetize it for friends and donors. And still the crowd cheers for more. I mean, either they've lost touch with reality or I have. Let's put our ears to the head of one of his fans to see what we can hear. Yeah, just as I thought. And they're so deluded as to think that the country wants him back. No, we don't. They think that because the only people they talk to are exactly the same as they are. The chronic bores at the golf club, bellyaching about how things aren't what they used to be. And if that Maggie Thatcher were here, she'd sort out the militants and the wokists and the lefties. And the French. And they say, oh, thank goodness for Priti Patel, though, eh? And maybe when she's done, she'll send herself to Rwanda. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I am stunned. My second favourite political interview of all time was just before the debate. Shall I play it now or shall I play it later? Look at that switchboard. You people are thrilled. It's virtually exploding with people who want to correct me, no doubt. I mean, you should leave him alone. He is doing his best. I will not. Where are you, Bodge? Lorraine in Birmingham says, hi, Nick. I think my youngest cat has taken a life insurance policy out, given his constant attempts to trip me over. Yes. As long as you leave don't open too many tins of cat food, Lorraine. It won't kill you if you don't open too many tins of cat food. This says, Pale Communion by Opeth easily stands alongside everything from the 1970s. You're just not listening to the right music. Press some buttons or ask Alexa and blow your mind. Pale Communion by Opeth. Well, I don't know anything about it, but it doesn't prevent me from having a strong opinion. And it's
No.
from me. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. I'm used to getting your great monologues at 10, but you saved it till 12 tonight.
Yes.
Looking at Tugan Hat's thrown his lot in with Truss and Sirs Wallace, and we've reached a tipping point now. They're all going to be scrambling for jobs and throwing the weight in behind it.
Yeah.
It's over at the end of the day because they all want jobs and they're all sycophants. But at the end of the day, the other thing is that everyone's saying, oh, Truss is playing to the Conservative members. But what they're missing is she's actually paying to the super rich, the oil companies and the donors.
Yes.
That's what she's playing to because that's where her future lies. She needs to get the Tory members on side, but she's playing nice ball to all the rich guys to just funnel the money in one direction again, upwards.
Well, I mean, I would assume that that's what they'll do anyway. She doesn't have to play and convince them and, make them assured that that's what's going to happen, because we just assume that that's what's going to happen. I mean, those are conservative principles, aren't they? Trickle-down economics.
Which works in reverse, of course.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, there ain't no such thing as trickle-down economics.
Absolutely.
It's trickle-up economics.
But one little thought I had was, if Sunak realises that the tipping point's way past now and withdraws, they could anoint Liz leader, which means that Johnson wouldn't have served as long as Theresa May. That would really cheese him up.
Well, he's going to do a Donald Trump. I betcha.
Oh, shut up!
Because he's baby Trump, and Donald Trump, I would imagine that Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States of America. That is my guess.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
He has been so successful.
I've been successful in every business I've been in.
And he will be successful becoming the next president of the USA, I bet. And I bet Boris Johnson is not done. It's the shark that has swum out to sea, but he will be back and will need a bigger boat and a bigger harpoon.
Yeah, hopefully. But I do think you're right, the population are... There's a load of people out there who hear, younger people who hear militant unionists. They weren't alive in the 70s. They didn't live through it.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to them, but they look at nurses and people going to food banks and they go, this isn't right.
Right. Exactly. I don't think it's just young people either. I think old people are a bit sick of this stuff too. I mean, because Mick Lynch, he might look a bit frightening, but when you see him talk, he isn't at all, and he wipes the floor with absolutely anybody he's put in the same room with, whether they be a TV presenter or another politician. Because they're all just repeating sound bites. Oh, you can't have higher wages because that's a wage price spiral, as though they know what they're talking about. I saw Anne Widdecombe say that exact same thing. You know, that one. She said the exact same thing to, was it Mick Lynch? No, it was some other bloke, some other union fellow who quietly disassembled her to her constituent molecules, and she didn't have anything other to say than repeating a catchphrase that she'd half learned. It's the same with all of them.
I'm really grateful that Mick Lynch comes across the way he does, because he's not a shouty scargill. That would have caused chaos, but he's cool, calm, collected. Obviously not Marxist. It's just common sense that comes out of his mouth, and people listen.
The money that these companies are making, and all the companies seem to be profiteering from our misery right now. The money that they're making will go to one of two places. It will either go to the people that actually create the wealth, which are the workers, or it will go to the people that don't create the wealth, who are sitting at home just watching the money pour through the front door, who are the already super rich who own the shares in those companies. And it's not the little people, not leprechauns, who own shares in these oil giants through their pensions, because pension funds don't own many shares. That's a complete fallacy.
No, they keep saying there's a load of SIDS out there who bought gas shares. Well, in number terms, yes, there'll be loads of people out there bought 10 shares. So there'll be a lot of them, but in terms of the bulk of the shares, they're owned by the hedge funds and the rich. They're not, the bulk of the money doesn't go to little people. If you've got 10 shares, what are you going to get if you get a 50p dividend? You're going to get 5.
Plus, the people that bought small shares, they don't, by majority, still own them anymore. It's kind of exactly like what happened in Russia. They're called oligarchs, but here they're not individuals that acquired all that wealth. They're wealth management companies. That's where it all ended up. Things that used to be owned by all of us were sold off for a pittance to those that could afford it, meaning that us poor dopes who can't afford it, it becomes very, very expensive. And you can see what happened it's staring us right in the face. Our bills have gone up it's about 400%, if what they're saying is right. Our gas and electricity bills will be $4,000. That's gone up 400%. In France, they went up 4% because they still own their own infrastructure. What kind of a stupid country will sell off its electricity, gas and water? It's ridiculous. Our entire country has been sold out from underneath us in pretty much the exact same way as it was in Russia. It's just that we call them wealth management funds and they call them oligarchs.
Yeah, when we bought gas shares and all the other shares, we were actually buying what we already owned.
Yes, I know. What a wheeze, eh?
What a wheeze, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. I haven't played my second favourite political interview of all time yet. I will. You trust me, don't you?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon.
Those are my strict rules. Lewisham. Hello, Jane.
Hello, Nick. The 70s, they was brilliant. We never had none of this tech. We never had any speed cameras.
Oh.
And it was all about motorbikes, cars, and fashion. Fashion was it. And the airports, that people was just starting to go,
abroad,
on holidays abroad. And, the airports, they was just glamour.
Well,
And
let's not get carried away. They were empty. Can we just agree on that?
They wasn't very full. So that's it. Everybody was watching what everybody was wearing.
Yeah.
And Dover. Oh, Dover. I still like Dover now. I really, really like Dover. But Dover, we met friends and we used to think, France has got Cannes. We're going to have Dover. And we used to make our own clothes then, knitting and sewing. That was my hobby. And we met a few friends.
Crochet, I bet. I bet you crocheted.
And we had our own... I could crochet, but I can't remember crochet now. And it was just absolutely lovely.
Well, the fashions in the 1970s were absolutely abysmal. We didn't realise how bad we looked, but we do know now. I mean, now you look back at people in the 1970s and you just can't stop laughing because they looked terrible. I mean, just shockingly bad. Brutus jeans. Do they even exist anymore? I remember the jingle. I bet you remember the jingle, Jane. Brutus jeans. I pull my blue jeans on.
No, we never really wore jeans.
Oh, blue jeans on. Well, what did you wear?
Anything but jeans.
Loon pants, I bet.
We didn't wear trousers, did we?
Oh, didn't wear trousers?
Disgusting.
In public?
No, except if you was on a motorbike. That was about it.
Yeah. All right, that's probably very advisable, Jane. Something to keep in mind. All right, thanks a lot. 0345 6060 973. Ian in Wrexham says, don't we pay ex-prime ministers for the rest of their lives anyway? It's like a bootleg version of Point Break. What does that mean? A bootleg version of Point Break. What, the surfing movie? I don't understand what that means. We do pay ex-prime ministers for the rest of their lives. Yeah, we pay and we pay and we pay. But, too much is never enough. This says, I think Mr. and Mrs. Bodge are upstairs steaming that expensive wallpaper off the walls to take to their new place. You bet they are. Apart from the bits that they've vomited up, apart from those bits, they'll leave those bits. New Malden, Ahmed.
Greetings, Nick.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say, it seems to me nobody cares who runs the country. And, of course, we have no choice. We got two...
numpties.
Well, I don't want to be rude.
Go on.
We got these two individuals left. And, what Russian Prime Minister said about this Truss,
Oh, you're getting you're getting fainter, Ahmed.
Hello.
There you are.
No. Yeah. Lavrov said after the meeting with Liz Truss in Moscow that it's like talking to a deaf person.
That's right.
She listens but can't hear.
Yeah, it's like she goes into standby mode.
Well, exactly. Of course.
Actually, that's exactly what she looks like. It looks like her brain's just been switched off for a while, and she stands there staring ahead blankly. Absolutely nothing is being received at that moment. She's she's in standby.
Well, of course. And also she said she will follow in the footsteps of Boris Johnson.
Yeah, great. That's what we need.
So
Another one of those.
We might as well have kept Boris Johnson if she's going to be the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And if Rishi Sunak, if he fails to become a Prime Minister, he has a green card. He can always go to USA.
He's got £1 billion. He can go anywhere he likes.
He can go anywhere.
Doesn't matter what colour of card he's got. Money is accepted everywhere. All right, thanks a lot, Ahmed. Yeah, Kremlin officials have launched an attack on Liz the Brains Truss as the UK's Foreign Secretary remains in pole position to become the Prime Minister of this country.
Oh, no.
Can you believe that? In the wacky races, she's Penelope Dipstick in the Compact Pussycat, and Fishy is Peter Perfect in his Turbo Terrific. Isn't he an absolute dream? And back in the real world, the Lizbot appears to have angered the Kremlin, judging by the remarks about her on multiple Russian state television channels. I have detailed files. That's what they say on Russian television channels. She should hear what people are saying about her on multiple social media channels in this country.
Dreadful.
The seemingly coordinated attacks came as Truss looks likely to enter Downing Street in September. She's pledged to maintain her tough stance against Russia, which would explain the Kremlin's concerted efforts to undermine her. I wouldn't bother. She's perfectly capable of undermining herself. In February, Truss stared down Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in an icy press conference just days before Russia invaded Ukraine. And that video is available on the World Wide Web. And it was icy because she just stood there staring ahead like she was trying to locate herself in space. She said, "Where am I?" I mean, I'm not saying that Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov isn't up to his eyeballs in evil, but it was like a Bond villain was being lectured to by Luby Lou. You remember Luby Lou, don't you?
No.
Moscow propaganda channels last night suggested that Truss was not fit to control the nuclear button. Here's an indication of where we are right now. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with Ernst Stavro Blofeld. They also accused her of copying Margaret Thatcher.
Correct.
A presenter on Russia's Channel 1 said, "Oh, she tries to emulate the Iron Lady on tank. Then presenter fainted, so she couldn't hold her emotions. How would she behave in other critical situations? This was a moment when her spirit deserted her and viewers saw an ordinary frightened woman. Fright, horror and panic. That is how she reacted. Of course, Vladimir Putin would have used the fallen woman as doormat. Is strong, yes?" I urge you to watch that video. It's the second funniest Liz Truss video ever. The first one was this.
That is a disgrace.
She just stares ahead like she is powered by electricity and someone's pulled her plug out the wall. She's going to be the next leader of this country. What could possibly go wrong? 0345 6060 973. Bodmin, Malcolm.
Nick, brilliant Scottish accent, my friend. You can almost be a Scotsman, I tell you.
Yes.
Nick, two things. Sunak and Truss. Sunak first. I don't know whether you remember, you're about my age, but a lovely fella, Norman Wisdom.
Yes.
And he was in a film with Mr. Grimsdale.
Oh, Mr. Grimsdale.
Yeah, and Rishi Sunak, I remember it as it was yesterday. The Cabinet of the North, they met somewhere up north, and they showed all the ministers walking down this little cobbled track into the hall where the Cabinet was held. And honest to God, I swear that Rishi Sunak's suit was made by the same tailor as Norman Wisdom when he was a boy actor. Honest to God, the trousers are halfway up his legs.
Yeah,
and
it's so odd. I mean, he has his suits made to measure. I just don't know who they're made to measure.
And the walk is identical to Norman Wisdom. But Nick, Truss, the treacherous Lib Dem, Ramona, abolishmentist, abolishist. She wants to get rid of the royalty. I reckon. Well, and then, well, yes, that's right. She wanted to get rid of the royalty. She was Nick, against Brexit, and was invited to believe that she says what she means.
The government's been told all bereaved partners and victims of the infected blood scandal should be given immediate interim compensation of at least £100,000. Thousands of people were infected with HIV and hepatitis C in the 1970s and 80s after being given contaminated blood products. Former Conservative leadership contender Tom Tugendhat has announced he's supporting Liz Truss. It's the second high-profile endorsement for the Foreign Secretary in 24 hours, after the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace also backed her to be the next Prime Minister. And a strike by train drivers is set to cause severe disruption to rail services later today. ASLEF union members at 7 train operators are walking out for 24 hours in a dispute over pay. LBC weather, rain for northern and western parts of the UK, moving south and east and turning light and patchy. Sunny spells for the southeast with a high of 28.
This is LBC.
Starting route to summer holiday. Continue straight after Are We There Yet? Exit for Ooh, BP, Who's Hungry? Continue towards tempting treats, seriously tasty sandwiches and a much-needed latte. At the next left, break into the snacks. Merge left for the toilet break Jack said he didn't need.
Whatever this summer brings, pick up amazing quality, great value food and drink from your nearest BP store.
You have arrived.
BP, here for all of life's journeys.
Why should you consider dental implants? Here's Susan Tanner from the Darwood and Tanner Dental Practice.
The secret to good-looking teeth on dental implants is in the science and our expertise acquired over many years. Our technology improves the ability to diagnose and provide solutions for even the most complex problems. The result looks and feels amazing.
See the success stories from happy patients and book your consultation today. Visit darwoodandtanner.co.uk.
If you've been injured in an accident at work, talk to Harris Fowler. With over 25 years' experience, we've helped thousands of people claim compensation to which they're entitled. Our experienced and specialist team are ready to fight for you. It's no win, no fee, no risk. Call Harris Fowler today on 0800 213 214 to see if you have a claim. You've got nothing to lose and perhaps a lot to gain. Harris Fowler, a personal injury solicitor.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, the whole world has in fact gone crazy. That's what's happening here. I don't believe that they actually have a principal bone in their body, any of them. They're just seeing which way the wind is blowing, and it looks like the Liz bot is going to come out ahead. So they're all lining up behind her and saying, oh, yeah, I supported her all along. Really? Liar! They just want a job, that's all. And they support her because she's principled. Yeah, like that old Groucho Marx joke, I have very strong principles, and if you don't like those, I've got others. She was for abolishing the blooming monarchy, if you can believe that. How un-Tory is that, for crying out loud? Oh, I can't stand it. No. She was for staying in the European Union. And what was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was. She was for staying in the European Union. She was against the monarchy and whatever Mike said the other one was. And now she's changed all of those opinions. 100% turnaround. But, you know, we're supposed to believe that she's principled. She believes what she says. Yeah, and means it too, yes?
No.
Painful. And you know what? I'm very disappointed in Rishi Sunak because at least I thought that he was, you know, the sensible option, like a real human being who actually believed in something. This is beyond pathetic. Rishi Sunak has vowed to stop left-wing agitators bulldozing British values as Tugendhat backs Truss. He's seeking to revive his flagging bid for the premiership by wading into a series of so-called culture war issues, vowing to stop left-wing agitators from bulldozing British values. I mean, sense has left the building.
Bye-bye.
I mean, I'm just speechless. This is what they're going to fight the next election on. We're going to have two blooming years of this.
Oh, no.
Of the war on woke. And it's going to be on a daily basis. They're going to pick something else on a daily basis. They're trying to pick a fight with the unions, of course. They don't want that to be ending. They have absolutely no interest in patching up a relationship with the European Union because they want that constant fight. They want somebody to blame for every tiny little thing that they do. I mean, we know that they don't accept responsibility for anything at all because they're blaming Rishi bloomin' Sunak for firing or for getting Boris Johnson out of number 10, as opposed to blaming Boris Johnson for everything that he did. It's just incredible. We're being led by children. Pathetic, whiny, needy children. And we're going to get the worst. It's a pretty rum choice, but we're going to get the worst of them. And he has just abandoned his basic appeal that he's not one of those people. Not one of those people who just knee-jerk about the war on woke because they think that that's what their fans want to hear. They don't believe any of this stuff. I don't believe that they believe a single word that they're saying. They just think that that's what you want to hear. And it used to work. And you can kind of sense in the establishment that they're a bit confused at the moment because it's not working anymore. Like Boris Johnson, his act isn't working anymore.
Yeah. Wait.
People just got sick of it. I mean, it's like having a dinner of pudding. I mean, pudding is all right, but you don't want it for starters, main, and afters. Gets a bit sickly. And I just don't think that whole act is working anymore. And that will seriously discombobulate them because that's what they're going to fight the next election on. Because they ain't got nothing else. I mean, how's Brexit going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
And what else have they done? The NHS?
Dreadful.
Law and order? No. I mean, those are their three things. How about their fiscal probity? Everything is broken. Everything. So the only thing they've got left is to try to get you angry about stuff. Stuff that doesn't matter. Statues. Not being able to insult people. You know, stuff like that. That's all they got. I mean, if that's what Fishy is doing now, then there is no clear indication that that's where they're going. He's tried everything else. He's tried making sense, and that didn't work. So now he's trying... Yes, give that a go. Why not? Okay, here's my second favourite political interview ever. Now, to be clear, my favourite political interview ever, and I wonder if this is still available on the Global Player, it was our own James O'Brien who was interviewing Nigel Farage.
I'm a nutcase.
And James O'Brien, in his way, and I don't know how he does it, but he seems to have some sort of weird brain that can absorb all of this information. It's like a computer. And he just stores it all in there to whip it out at the appropriate time. And I urge you to watch it. It's brilliant. He takes Nigel Farage and dismantles him to his constituent molecules and leaves him a pulsating heap on the carpet. And as Nigel Farage is getting angrier and angrier, because all of his usual catchphrases and all this stuff that he comes out with weren't working, and James O'Brien could unpick absolutely everything he said and disprove in real time, like fact-check him in real time. It's remarkable how he did it. I don't know how he did it. He does this stuff without notes. And Nigel Farage, I bet Nigel Farage still wakes up screaming in the morning. Just, he'll have nightmares of it still. So that was my favourite political interview of all time. My second favourite happened yesterday. And it was Ben Kentish who was interviewing David Davis. Did you hear it? Now, this was just before the debate. And David Davis was in the room. And they were obviously warming up the crowd coming in by playing some music. And here's how it went.
Can I ask you how you think the Sunak campaign is going? He was behind at the start. He now seems to be even further behind. Your team, his campaign, they're struggling to turn this around. Why is that?
Well, we're still 6 weeks out yet, and it depends who you're talking to. If you talk to the ordinary members of the public, the majority of them think that Rishi will make a better Prime Minister. I think he'll make a fantastic Prime Minister, a really good one. And it's up to us to get that across. It's what we don't want to see is this turning into a sort of bidding contest, who can offer the lowest taxes and so on, and that kind of stuff. What we want to do is to have a contest of virtue. I think when it comes down to that, Rishi will win. It'll just take some time.
That should be a new format. Just ask them a question and then turn up the music.
Rock and roll!
I'd pay good money to hear that. My second favourite political interview ever. And absolutely my favourite quote from David Davis. Couldn't hear a blind word he said. Perfect. 0345 6060 973. That music was Kid Rock, by the way, which is one of Donny's favourites. He's one of them dingalings. Like Kanye.
Whoop-dee-dee-scoop-poop.
Couldn't hear a word he said, Melania.
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. Let's have Greenford. Paul.
Hello, Nick.
Paul.
Yeah, I think it's very. It seems you seem to be painting a very interesting picture of what's going on. It seems to be a lot's going on, but on the other hand, they seem to be making a cack hand of it. You know.
Right. Okay. Well put. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. This says, can you stop insulting William by comparing him to Bodge night after night? What's he done to you? He's only 11. 11 years old. Talking about Just William. Richmal Crompton. I used to love those books. Books!
Boring!
Alexandra says, Nick, I hear Liz Truss. Miss Liz Truss. What? I hear Miss Liz Truss Trust is planning to privatise air if and when she is crowned the dear leader. The European Research Group are insisting on it as a condition of endorsement in this interminable Tory tiddlywinks contest. It's a tiddlywinks contest, Truss.
That is a disc.
Unfortunately, we run out of time. That is a what now? This says, since we're holding the Eurovision Song Contest for Ukraine, I think May and Truss should have a pre-contest dance-off to Dancing Queen to make us all go blind before the aforementioned event. The robots are coming.
Affirmative.
That's a good idea. Anybody want to see Liz Truss dance?
No.
Actually, I do. I want to see Liz Truss and Theresa May doing the Paso Doble. I don't even know what a Paso Doble is, but I would pay big money to see it, wouldn't you? Let's have Edinburgh. Marion.
Oh, hi, Nick. I don't want to see that dance. No.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Good. Okay. So, oh, Christ. I was going to say something marginally serious, but everything's been so funny since I've been on waiting. I don't know what to say. You mentioned Nadine Dorris. I mean, that's just funny anyway, to say the name. What I was going to say is about a bit more serious, is the energy prices and things.
Yes.
This has not come as a surprise to the government. No, hold that thought. They knew this was happening. They didn't just know when we were all told. They knew before. They knew before it was going to be bad the last time, and knew before it was going to be bad in the future, and they knew the January thing as well. Yeah. They know all of this. So why are they all fanning about talking about earrings and crap? But I understand that's a different
It's a distraction, Mary. It's to distract you.
But they do know. I think the people in we should all know that this government knew about this. They can't say it was a surprise. It was like COVID. We didn't know it was going to happen, even though Italy and other places said about it. They can go, oh, we didn't know about the energy. Yes, you did. You know?
Right.
Did you know?
Okay, well, hold them to account, Marion. Make sure you do that. Promise me. Promise me you'll do it. All right.
I'll do that.
Okay, thanks a lot, Marion. 0345 6060 973. Just keep that in mind, by the way. If when you get your 400 quid check from the government so that you can pay your fuel bill, what the government is doing is taking money from you and giving it to the energy giants. They're not giving it to you. They're giving it to you so you can pay them. It just passes through your account and then ends up in theirs. Trickle up economics. They're taking your money and giving it to the oil giants, who, remember, along with the petrostates, for the last 50 years have made £2.3 billion in clear profit every single day. Every day. So when you get your check, just remember, it's not them being generous to you. They're being generous to the energy giants who are already making so much money that the boss of one of them called his company a cash machine. Actually said the quiet part out loud. It's a cash machine, he said. They just essentially have to sit back, put their feet up, smoke a cheroot, and the money comes pouring through the door. And it's going to be your money. But they're pretending that they're being generous to you, the government. They're not. They're giving you the money so that you can pay them. The stuff that's happening. Is this real life or am I hallucinating?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Let's have Carnforth. Hey up, Annie.
Hey up, Nick. How you doing?
I am great, mate.
Good. Yeah, about the energy sort of crisis. I was thinking a good thing that maybe we should all do is just have a mass movement and refuse to pay. You know, like people did with the poll tax.
I'm glad that you finished that sentence because I thought you were going to end that sentence. We should all have a mass movement.
Disgusting. Yeah, well, and lots of people didn't pay. In fact, we didn't pay our poll tax at one time for ages. I think we did eventually, but people were just withholding payment.
Right.
And there's going to be lots of people that literally cannot pay.
Well, that's right, yeah.
I was listening to an expert, an actual person who knew what they were talking about tonight. I think he was the former head of EDF, and was saying that he expected around a third of customers. I don't think he just meant EDF ones, but just, energy customers generally, were going to be really struggling to pay their bills.
Right.
So, I mean, they could have a third that, a third of the whole population that just can't afford to pay their bills.
So what will happen then is the same as what is going to happen to this 400 quid. It will go to the energy. They will pay your bill for you. In other words, they'll take tax money that might go to they'll fritter it away on the NHS. So they'll take that money and they'll give it directly to the energy giants to pay your bill and kid on that they're being generous to you. But they're not. They're stealing from you.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I thought that was what was going to happen with some of it anyway. Are they not paying it directly to the energy companies?
Well, you might be right about that, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I thought the 400 quid was going to be directly to your energy company.
Right. Well, in that case, then there's no two ways about it. It is trickle-up economics. It's going from the poor to the rich. They're taking money that would have been spent on fixing the potholes in the road, hiring more policemen, giving the nurses a pay rise, etc., and so on, and they're giving it straight to billionaires. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. This is not a government. It's a smash and grab raid.
Yeah, it definitely is, because, I mean, if we still owned it ourselves,
like
all
the
energy companies, like the French, yeah, any profits that they make, which they do make hand over fist, could be reinvested.
Exactly.
in infrastructure.
Or just in not charging people massive bills in the first place. The French, French, their bills went up 4%. I know Carol McGiffin, she lives in France. Her bill for electricity just went down.
What?
It hasn't gone up at all. It just went down.
Oh, it's just sickening.
Ours is going up 400%.
I know, and we're with the EDF. It does really sicken me, the fact that, ours is going up 400% and in France it's only going up 4%. And, they just think we're stupid and that we'll keep on paying it. I really think we should just all refuse to pay and just say, right, we're not paying. And just, cut us all off, cut the whole country off and see how everything works then.
Annie, you'll be on the first flight to Rwanda.
Yes, I probably will. But, I mean, it's really... I was listening earlier on today, an interview with some people, a couple on the Beeb, who were... the lady was disabled and her partner was the carer, and they were sitting in the dark. They hadn't... they said they hadn't had any money to put in their electric meter for 4 days.
Right.
All they'd been eating was bread and butter, and that was all they'd got, and they didn't get any money at all till Tuesday, so they were going to have no, electricity or gas, presumably, as well.
Yeah.
And all they were eating, the only food they had in the house was bread and butter.
Right, well, you don't want to help them out because that would be socialism, and that would be wrong, Annie.
Terrible. It would be immoral. Honestly, I just can't believe that we are living in a country, one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and this is what's happening to people.
I can't believe it either. I mean, it does feel as though it can't be happening. This must be a dream. We will be waking up soon, and then everything will be all right. But unfortunately, we took the red pill instead of the blue one. And or it was the other way around. What we should have done, Annie, is taken them both at the same time. Then we'd all be maroons. I'm going to have to go, Annie, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Salford, Gaz.
Hi, Nick. Hiya, mate.
Gaz.
Yeah, just a quick one, Nick. I know it's late. It's just Johnson's peerages. I think he should. I don't think he should be able. He should have the power to appoint.
Neither do I. No, neither do I. Neither do I. No.
Because the way that he's been removed, he's been removed
in disgrace. Yes.
Disgrace. Yeah. So why should he have the power?
Exactly. They should have removed him from office immediately. They should have frog-marched him out the building and chucked his stuff out the window.
Well, it's not right. I think we should legislate, actually.
Well,
Nick.
I tell you what. I tell you what should. All right. I tell you what should happen. The Queen should say no. I mean, I don't know what the actual constitutional process is, but I would assume that they make a list, they send it to the Queen, the Queen signs it off. It probably goes something like that. He lied to the Queen. He went there and he lied to her face. And you know what? If I was the Queen, I wouldn't care anymore. I wouldn't care how it looks anymore. I mean, she doesn't really throw her weight around much in public anyway. She should receive this list. She should tear it up and say no. And furthermore...
No.
She said, hell no. There wouldn't be a single person in this country that would object, apart from his imperial bodgeness himself.
Yeah. Wait.
That would screw his little scheme right up, wouldn't it? Stuff that place with people that can do him a favour in the future. That's the plan. I mean, it's not like a secret. It's not as though they're pretending otherwise. He does everything out loud, just like Trump does. He says the quiet part out loud. He tells you that he's picking your pocket while he's picking your pocket. She should just say no. And what's he going to do about it? Nationalise her? Anyway, thanks a lot, Gaz. Here, this show gets stuck up the internet as a podcast. We take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity, and you still won't be able to pay your fuel bill. But every little helps, right? It's on Global Player. It's called the Nick Abbot The Whole Show is what it's called. It's the Friday and the Saturday night shows. We make them as a podcast for your ease of listening and your pleasure. I'll be back tonight at 10 o'clock. If you stick around, he said, going down to the bottom of 11 closely typed pages of text and emails. Sorry about that. I will try and get through them tonight. Richard Spur is here at 4. But first... Whoa. Oh, we've done that again, haven't we?
Oh, it's
right.
that.
Okay.
It's the Dalek thing.
Clive Ball.
Thank you. Coming up after the news at 1 o'clock, we'll continue the conversation searching for Britain's next Prime Minister. Liz Truss, currently the most popular with Conservative Party members. Rishi Sunak is preferred by the wider electorate. 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 The wider electorate.